Hello Cancer, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy, their energy, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Cancer. We're going to start looking at overall energy through oracle cards first, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. But first, Cancer, I want to start with looking at the overall energy that you have toward the person you are dealing with. Cancer's energy toward this person, please. The person you're dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. Deja vu. This deja vu card definitely gives the energy of a cycle, that there's a cycle that you're dealing with this person and with this connection. And I feel like it's really frustrating. Yeah, with this robotic card, it's almost like it's like there's something on repeat here. Now, if it's not specifically with this person, maybe this is about attracting a lot of the same like outcomes in relationships. So, attracting, having different relationships, but all of them kind of in the same, like it ends in like maybe something extreme like betrayal or abandonment, or maybe, things start to fall apart because of whatever reason. So there's some sort of cycle appearing in your love life, and it almost feels like it's like you're like, yeah, this is to be expected. Like, this is how this goes. Like, it's like so ingrained in your experience. Yeah. And then there's this grief and sadness card. I wanted to see if this was like something positive. But it came out as this grief and sadness card. So I do very much feel that there's something that keeps putting you in this place of grief and sadness when it comes to your love life here. And it could be this person. It could be, a lot of different people. Like I said, I feel like specifically how that resonates is going to depend on like your individual situation. So just take it as it resonates. But I do very much feel that you're getting pretty tired of it, to be honest with you. I think that you're tired of this experience, of this cycle in this connection, or with multiple connections, and maybe you're looking at how you can break it. And cycles can always be broken. If we're experiencing a certain cycle, maybe there's something we need to learn, heal, a way we need to grow or evolve, but that cycle can absolutely be broken. It just might not always be broken in the way that we expect. This person's energy toward you, Cancer. Person that Cancer is dealing with, side of the connection toward Cancer. Wild card, quality time, and then there's the soulmate recognition card. Yeah, this is complicated. This is one of those connections where both people kind of recognize that it's something special, something meaningful, something that is different than typical connections kind of go. But I feel like this person's behavior, especially with this wild card energy, is very unpredictable. You're not really sure how they're going to show up, if they're going to show up, and I think that like it changes, I feel like, based on how, I don't want to say how much time you spend together, but like how long the connection is together. It's like as things start to deepen and as the connection starts to grow, I feel like their behavior has become or becomes like more and more unpredictable. So maybe that's what you're dealing with, something that starts out strong, but then eventually, ends in this just like, I don't know what to make of this kind of energy. So I feel like there's a lot to break down when it comes to some sort of specific dynamic in love, Cancer, which I know I kind of mentioned, but specifically when it comes to like the type of person or people that you're attracting. Truth of this connection between Cancer and this person. Interference. So literally, there's something that's interfering with your ability to have the love that you deserve. You can have the love that you deserve, but this cycle is in the way. This cycle is interfering. Not just with this connection, but on a bigger scale too. There's manipulation. What is this manipulation card saying? I feel like you kind of feel like you were growth and then healing. Okay, so this is the purpose, growth and healing, sure. Oh, I see how that's connected. Okay. I feel like you're dealing with this energy of like, somebody comes around, maybe it's this person and it's like, oh, I have such strong feelings for you. I really want this connection to work and it feels so promising and so exciting. And then eventually there's like some sort of switch up. Things change. There's distance, they start to pull back. Maybe there's ghosting, whatever specifically resonates with your situation. And I feel like it's, like I said, like you're kind of in this energy of feeling pretty over it and wondering like if you're going to be able to have the love that you deserve and desire. And I feel like the spirit specifically in this reading is trying to draw your attention, not necessarily to, like I don't feel like this is much about like this person as much as it's about like the dynamic that exists between you and this person that is needing to really be addressed and understood in a deeper way. Now, this manipulation card is obviously very, like, when I see it, it always kind of like sparks my interest, like a little bit of red flaggy energy, because I feel like I want to know where this is really coming from. But I feel like maybe you feel like you keep attracting people who are manipulative, or you keep attracting people who tell you one thing and do another, or maybe that's what this person is doing as well, or feeling led on, or whatever the case is. And I feel like Spirit wants to help you break out of this cycle here so that you can have the love that you've been looking for, the love that you deserve, because you are very, very capable of having it. But sometimes when we experience like, this cycle or this dynamic so many times over, we're going to start to believe that's not possible for me. I can't have that love. Like, this is what love looks like. This is how things go. But I feel like that doesn't have to be the case. Overall theme of this reading for Cancer. Learning to forgive. But it's not forgiving. Oh, interesting. Okay. It's not even necessarily about forgiving this person. Okay, I have a feeling we're going to get kind of deep in this reading here, Cancer. I do. I really do. Because it kind of feels like, when a pattern or a cycle in our love life appears, there's always because the people in our life are assignments. They're spiritual assignments, and they're providing us with opportunities to heal, grow, expand, evolve, ultimately to learn something. And a lot of times what they're representing is some sort of pattern that is very driven by wounding, that is driven by unhealed wounding or past wounding or whatever the case is. And I feel like, okay, yeah, you still miss me, stand your ground. I feel like there's this overall kind of theme here of waiting on I don't know if it's like the right person to come around, or to finally find the right person, or to finally, have that love that you deserve. But I feel like Spirit is trying to shift your focus in a different direction, that it's not so much about finding the right person as it is about like becoming the right person for yourself, not for others. A lot of times I think when we heal, when we do that inner work, so much of the time our focus is like, how can I become lovable? How can I become worthy and deserving? But healing isn't about becoming anything, right? It's about recognizing that you've been lovable, worthy, and deserving the whole time, but your patterns are a reflection of your belief that you're not. And sometimes we carry these beliefs without even realizing that it's happening. So I feel like there's a pattern that keeps appearing in your life, in your love life in particular, that is reflecting back certain beliefs that you hold of like, I'm unlovable, I can't find the love that I deserve and desire, I can't have it, it doesn't exist for me. And there's a need to kind of break down where that's coming from so that you can set yourself free from this pattern, so that you can have and finally attract what it is that you've been waiting for. So with that being said, let's dive into this a little bit deeper, Cancer. This is Cancer's side of this connection to this person. Grief and sadness with deja vu. Okay, yeah. You keep trying to manifest the love that you deserve, but you keep experiencing triggers. It's like you keep experiencing love that actually triggers your wounding. Knight of Cups in reverse, High Priestess in reverse with the Magician in the middle here. Right now, your wounding is louder than your intuition. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. I will say, we typically attract people who reflect our wounding until we heal, and then we attract people who reflect our healing. And if we are still attracting people that are triggering our wounding, then there's a part of us that needs to address that wounding so that we can heal. I feel like in this specific connection, there is something deeper going on here. And I feel like that keeps you holding on to like the potential that you see specifically in this connection. And that might be a pattern for you, seeing potential in a connection, waiting for that potential to fully realize, but then getting kind of disappointed and let down when it doesn't. And I feel like there is, because it just feels like you're in the cycle of being let down. You're in this cycle of people not treating you the way that you deserve, loving you the way that you deserve, choosing you in the way that you deserve. And when we're experiencing that so many times over, we are going to, on some level, start to believe like I'm broken. Like no matter how hard I try, no matter how much I heal, no matter how much I grow, no matter how much I bring love to the table, it never seems to be enough. I never seem to be enough. But sometimes what we don't realize is we're not, the love that we attract into our life, the experiences that we have in love, those experiences are reflections of what's going on below the surface in us. And if we have certain wounds, those wounds are going to be re-experienced until they're fully addressed and healed. So for instance, if you struggled with being loved in the way that you deserve starting from a young kid, say that your parents maybe did the best that they could, but they didn't love you fully in the way, in a healthy way, in the way that you deserve. So you've always lacked the love that you deserve, right? And this is an example, but say you've always lacked the love that you deserve. Well, when you have always lacked the love that you deserve, even from the people who are supposed to love you the most, you are going to internalize that as, I am unlovable, I am undeserving of love. And what you're going to do is you're going to seek out that familiar feeling, that familiar dynamic, a dynamic that almost proves to you the same wound in which you experienced early on, and you're going to try to change the result. So then you're going to try to prove your love and prove your value and abandon your needs so that you can be more lovable and more deserving of love. And there's something like that going on here where you carry certain wounding from your past that you keep re-experiencing in love. And that wounding is making it hard for you to hear your intuition to guide you to like the right spaces, the right people, the right relationships, the right dynamics. And it keeps, I don't want to say bringing you to the wrong ones, because the people that are meant for, or the people that come into our lives are always the right people for us at that time to teach us something, help us heal in some way. But I feel like, yeah, Six of Pentacles in reverse. It's like you're stuck in this pattern of not receiving, of giving and not receiving, of, pouring into others but not receiving it back. And I feel like Spirit really wants you to address that pattern. So it's interesting here because I said this at the beginning. I was like, I don't feel like this is as much going to be a reading about like this person in particular, but more so about the dynamic, right? I think that especially when we have a deeper connection to somebody, we are like kind of connected to their higher self, like their potential, if you will. So what we see in them is who they could be if they healed, grew, evolved, became the person that we know that they could be. And we fall in love with that. We fall in love with the potential and we choose it and we invest in it. But we keep getting our heart broken whenever the person that they are is the person that shows up. And I feel like it's almost like you keep entering into connections, or specifically into this connection, into a cycle where you see potential, but you're let down because that potential is never realized. And I think that it's like that, what you do receive in the end, like what you do actually receive is what you're most familiar with, the lack or the heartbreak or whatever it is. And for some reason, this person who's coming up in this reading is in particular making that dynamic, like bringing it to the surface and like shining a light on it. So even if this connection isn't like exactly like maybe relationships in the past, I feel like there's a specific dynamic in it that is like shining. So Spirit's trying to shine a spotlight on to help you understand things in a different way. This person's energy toward you, wild card with soulmate recognition. We're most attracted to our wounding until we heal. And then we're no longer attracted to our wounding and we start becoming attracted to our healing, to people who reflect our healing and not our wounding. So right now, I feel like you keep attracting people who mirror your wounding, who mirror back at you your feelings of being unlovable and being not good enough and being incapable of having the love that you deserve. People that essentially prove to you, quote unquote, all of the ways that you think that, you're unlovable, you can't have the love that you deserve. Those things are all true. Like that's the kind of relationship that you attract. But that's the ways that you believe that you're unlovable and incapable of having the love that you deserve. Those things aren't actually true. They're beliefs that you carry because of ways that you've internalized your wounding to this point, which is why being a human being is so incredibly complicated. We're very driven by our subconscious mind, more so than we know. Like almost 90 to 95% of our movements, choices, decisions, behaviors, what we're attracted to, what we decide, all of this that stems from our subconscious, which is, if we aren't aware of what's going on below the surface, then we are going to continue to attract the same. Oof, okay. Page of Cups in reverse, Nine of Cups with the Devil. So right out of the gate, emotional unavailability. This person is emotionally unavailable. This person is, based on where they're at in their life, based on the level of healing that they've done, based on their current level of consciousness, based on all of the things that they currently carry, they are not capable of opening up, being vulnerable, giving and receiving love in the way that you deserve. I feel like that's the pattern. The pattern is emotional unavailability. I'm trying to get, okay, there we go. Ace of Swords in reverse. with the Sun. Okay. So, we have the Nine of Cups, the Devil, the Temperance, the Magician in reverse, the Ace of Swords in reverse, and the Sun. You know, it's interesting because right out of the gate, Nine of Cups, I feel like this person sees this connection as somebody that they want to be with, somebody that they want a relationship with. And I feel like that's typically how it goes. You meet somebody, or they know this person comes along, they tell you that they want to be with you or that they're attracted to you or whatever, and then things switch, right? Because their emotional unavailability kicks in. It's, relationships are always easy in the beginning. They're fun, they're excited, the dopamine's flowing, the serotonin's flowing. When all that goes away, you're left with your insecurities, your fears, your traumas. And if you aren't at a place consciously where you can handle that stuff, where you can handle your traumas and handle your triggers in a healthy way, those things are going to sabotage good things in your life. And I feel like that's what keeps happening in this connection. They have this devil energy. They're very, very driven by their toxic patterns, by unhealthy patterns, unhealthy decision making. And I feel like a lot of that does come from deeper wounding. So there is a little bit of, understanding of where that's coming from. And maybe you even carry that too. Maybe you have a tendency to carry or to attract people, or maybe specifically in this person, it's like you see that they are emotionally unavailable or that they have these patterns, but maybe you understand why. Maybe you have a deeper understanding of why they act the way that they do and why they do the things that they do, and that makes you feel, a little bit more like you have that empathy and that understanding, which almost makes you feel like, okay, so if we can address this, then this can be, fixed, and then things can be good. But here's what's interesting, because you have the Magician, they have the Magician in reverse. The Magician is about having all of the tools that you need to attract what it is that you desire. It's putting together your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, your tools, your knowledge, your capability, like putting that all together to create the life that you deserve. The Magician in reverse is about not yet having what you need to create the life that you deserve. To create some sort of desired outcome. For instance, if you desire love, you got to do the healing. You got to grow. You got to learn to handle things healthily. You can't put your traumas and your triggers on another person, because that's going to sabotage the connection, right? And I feel like that's what it's like. You keep attracting people who aren't capable of love, who aren't yet capable of healthy love. And I feel like that is one of the hardest things to experience in this life, is like experiencing a pattern and then believing that there's an alternate option. Because it's like, if you date, so many people over and over again, or you experience a certain type of love over and over again, eventually part of you is going to go, this is all that's possible. This is all that I can have. This is all that exists. Unhealthy love, or unrequited love, or unreciprocated love, or love that is inconsistent, or whatever the case is. And I feel like what you keep attracting is people who can only provide you with the level of love that you feel you are capable of having. The level of love that you believe you are deserving of. The level of love that you've been shown to this point. And that dynamic is so familiar for you, and you're a very empathetic and understanding person, that I feel like part of you is like, well, maybe I can change the outcome. Maybe I can make this different. Maybe this time things will be different, right? And I feel like, when it comes to this person, it feels like they're not clear on what's going to make them happy. Again, before we do our healing, before we work on ourselves, we're going to be very driven toward things that mirror back our wounding. So we're going to chase after unhealthy love, and we're going to run away from consistent love, right? So if you come into this person's life and you are, trying to love them consistently, but they're running from it, they're mirroring back at you the exact same thing that you do, which is look for love in people who don't know how to love you well, and push it away in people who do. So you and this person have a very, very similar, very mirrored pattern when it comes to how you handle love and relationships. And you keep attracting people who mirror that back at you, who push away love in people who love them well, and run from it in people who don't. Which means both of you very much carry the belief that you can't have the love that you deserve and desire. It's just manifesting in different ways at this specific point in time. So Spirit wants you to take a step back from trying to figure out what this person needs to do differently, how they need to heal, how they need to grow, how they need to evolve, how their traumas and triggers cause them to run from love, how they're pushing away something really good. And to look at how this is reflecting back in you certain patterns and behaviors and decisions in love that keep you from having the love that you deserve. Because this person is obviously doing things that are keeping them from having the love that they deserve, right? Especially if you have a lot of love to give in this. But how are you doing the same? Because here's the thing. When we are angry and frustrated at another person for not changing, for not choosing us, for not loving us, we're actually very angry at ourselves for not choosing us, for not loving us, for not being what we need ourselves to be. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to address that cycle so that you can become for yourself what you're looking for in this person and in people of the like, so that you can have that love. I see this a lot in the twin flame connection. The belief that, this person who mirrors back all of your wounding is, the key to your happiness, the key to the love that you deserve, the key to everything you've been looking for. And that is absolutely 100% something. There's something very psychological going on there. Because when somebody mirrors back at you all of your wounds, when somebody proves to you, quote unquote, all of your insecurities are true, all of your fears about love are true, all of the ways in which you feel unlovable and not good enough are true. In your mind, you're going to say, therefore, the only way that I am ever going to feel loved, valued, seen, heard, good in a relationship is if it comes from them. I need them to love me so they can heal these things within me. And what that does is that keeps you looking for the love that you deserve, for the love that you desire, in people who are not capable of providing it for you. I hope that makes sense. So there's a lot going on here, and we're going to get even deeper for sure in the extended, but I do feel like Spirit is trying to draw your attention to more of the cycle instead of focusing so much on the person. Because the cycle is what's blocking the love that you deserve, and not the cycle that this person is caught in because of running, but the cycle that you're caught in because of all the things that we just talked about. So when we address the cycle, we choose the healing, we attract better outcomes. I'm going to hop on over to the extended. You have manipulation with interference. Any information for that is in the description box below. Thank you so much, Cancer, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Cancer.